Please join us in welcoming UFC Flyweight standout Ian Uncle Creepy McCall here to Cage Religion Radio on our 2-year anniversary show. Ian, getting started. Thanks for taking the time to join us here today.
Nice. Well, happy to be on the show.
Now, kicking things off, prior to signing with the UFC this year, you were widely considered one of the world's top flyweights. As we know, the UFC didn't have a 125-pound division up until recently. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, they announced a 4-man tournament to crown the first champion. With that said, did this all kind of come as a bit of a surprise to you, or did you kind of have a feeling this was in the plans?
I knew it was planned. I didn't know it was actually going to happen, but luckily it did.
Now, as we know, the WEC guys came over to the UFC last year, and they've really made some waves so far. Here you are, one of the last WEC guys to come over. Do you feel things have kind of really come full circle for you?
Yeah, definitely. Things have changed a lot. Obviously for the better. But then making the new class and everything, it makes life that much more interesting.
Now, your UFC debut against Demetrious Johnson was originally announced as a split decision in favor of Demetrious. It was later changed to a majority decision for Demetrious due to an error in the judges' scorecards. After a series of mistakes on the part of the Athletic Commission, the bout was actually determined to be a majority draw. Basically, talk us through that hour or so following the bout. What was going through your mind, and as this all played out?
It was like sounds cheesy, but a roller coaster of emotion. It's just up and down, this and that. But it all got figured out. I mean, I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know any of that was happening. My coaches were running around, causing a stink, arguing with everybody, trying to figure out, because they knew something was wrong. Because, a bunch of stuff was weird. The whole situation wasn't making sense. So they, caused an uproar. And I know some other people. From what I heard, it was Kenny Florian said something about it, and I heard Dean said something about it, and it all got figured out eventually.
Now, with that said, you were featured in Dana White's latest video blog. It showed him breaking the news to you that the fight was actually a draw, and you appear to be speechless. I mean, I have to imagine it was a bit of a letdown not being able to compete in that tiebreaker round as it should have been. But again, the fight wasn't a loss for you, and you'll go on to rematch Demetrious this June. How did it feel when Dana broke the news to you?
It felt good, It was exciting, and then he told me that I got as a night, so that was an even better deal because $50,000 is nice. And I honestly thought I was laughing, but I guess I was laughing on the inside. I thought I was laughing the whole time, and smiling. Just a honey burger chicken. And I thought I was laughing, but when I watched the video, I was just staring at him, and then I asked if I was getting tased. So, kind of funny.
Now, like I mentioned, you're set to rematch Demetrious Mighty Mouse Johnson in the main event of UFC on FX3 that takes place on June 8th. With it still somewhat fresh in your mind, what kind of things did you learn from that first fight with Demetrious that you'll kind of be able to take over into the rematch?
That I'm, that much better wrestling, that much better jiu-jitsu. I didn't think it would be that big of a disparity. And I'm guess I'm that much better. There's nothing really else that I didn't already know or didn't already see. So I think that he was able to show his entire game, and I wasn't. So it's going to be a fun second fight. I'm excited for it.
Now, I know in recent weeks you've actually been campaigning for this fight to take place in your home state of California, but they actually announced on Thursday this fight will take place in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Were you a bit bummed out about the location of this fight, not being able to fight in front of your home crowd?
Yeah, but, I can't get too bummed out because my job doesn't suck, so I have to go to Florida and do what I have to do. I mean, it's not big, but plus I have my wife's some of her family's in Florida, so I'll get a free trip out there and go see them, and get to hang out for a bit.
Now, what's the experience been like having your first 2 UFC fights take place on such a large stage like FX?
It's awesome. It gets me notoriety, it gets me publicity. People get to see who I am without paying for it. And I think the direction the sport's going is awesome because, people aren't going to, like Dana White said, there's going to be no pay-per-views. Sooner or later, there's going to be no pay-per-views, and people aren't going to have to pay for such a glorious thing as two men bludgeoning each other with their, hands and feet. Take it.
Now, wrapping up, people are familiar with the likes of the American top teams, the Brazilian top teams, but you actually have something, somewhat of a running joke, called the Underground Creepy Top Team. For those who aren't aware, share how this all came about and basically how the nickname Uncle Creepy came about.
The nickname itself was given to me by my friend's son, who was like not even 3 at the time. And he calls me Uncle Ian, and he just ended up calling me Uncle Creepy that night. I was trying to put him to sleep. We were playing with like a skateboard or something, and he just called me Uncle Creepy. Now, the Underground Creepy Top Team is a whole different story. That is what my real hardcore fans, the people who knew about me before I was in UFC, they knew who I was way before UFC did, and they named themselves. They were kind of making fun of BTT and ATT and all that stuff, and they just thought it would be funny to me. I think some guys on the UG named themselves like the UK top team or something like that, and it's the underground. People don't really take. I guess people do take it serious, but everything's a joke on there, and it's really blossomed into something that I never thought it would. I mean, it's the people are getting their own clothing company, and I mean, I don't really think that creepy clothing is going to take off, but at least the fans will be able to buy their own gear to support me and to support the cause.
Now, I have seen the shirts; they are very cool. Where can fans find those at online?
It's UncleCreepyMMA.com, and yeah, I mean, my fans always send in logos to use, so I like using theirs. My last one was made by my friend Kyle. He's sponsored by Etnies and a bunch of other companies from motocross, so he's good at graphic design. He makes all his own stuff, so he made one for me. That was the first shirt. But the second shirt was made by a fan of mine, and then I'm sure from now on they'll be made by people from the underground.
And wrapping up, where can fans find you at online? Where can they reach you?
You can find me on Twitter at Uncle Creepy MMA, or my website, UncleCreepyMMA.com, or you can go on Facebook and Google me, or however you Facebook me, I guess. Ian McCall. I'm all over the place.
Once again, Ian, we just want to thank you for being gracious with your time to join us here on the Cage Religion Radio 2-year anniversary show.
Anytime, man. Give me a call.